The fundamental disconnect between buyers and sellers on how CTV should be bought and sold, I think really lies in how we're categorizing it in these different ways you can buy it. It can be done directly, and it has a lot of these legacy linear look and feel, which lends itself to certain ways that's being done. But at the same time, it's also digital. That introduces direct IOs from a digital fashion, but also programmatic. And I think those challenges or those differences is how do we meet in the middle and give the benefit of both sides, but allow you to transact in a way that makes everyone comfortable, the publisher side and the buy side, getting what what looks and feels good to them and what they want and need.
Great. Erika, I also wanted to touch on the issue of signal strength right now. Why are direct partnerships between publishers and buyers so important when it comes to sharing and understanding data signals?
Yeah, that's a great question and something I'm really passionate about because I think it is so important. And a big piece of that is just the foundation and the trust in the partners you're working with. Signals in CTV, if you get outside of the data conversation, is a really important piece of data. So there's a lot of skepticism from the publisher side to just open that up and share, not to mention the privacy regulations and some of those stipulations that come along with it. On the buy side, it's very easy to say, I want everything and expect that. So that piece is going to be really important to work with partners you can trust, get closer to the publishers, a situation where OpenX sits really closely and wants to help them open those up in a ways that's going to be privacy compliant, but also transparent, and then allowing that to flow down the ecosystem to the buyers, making sure they can feel comfortable what they're buying in that ecosystem and that transparency piece to make everyone a little bit more comfortable with how the biddable environment for streaming is working.
Erika, the word quality is sometimes thrown around kind of vaguely, kind of loosely. In your view, how should buyers think about the term quality in terms of CTV inventory today?
Yeah, I think that one is really important, and I almost think we're getting to that bucket of, I don't want to call it premium because everyone has a different definition, but quality should just be that baseline standard, right? It has to go along with understanding what you're buying. And quality doesn't necessarily need to be said publisher here, but you have to understand what it is and be willing to pay for what that is. So I think that is removing hops in the supply chain. You're as close to that publisher as you can be, giving that most direct path. That's really important. Two is that transparency piece. And I know we say that almost ad nauseum as well, but understanding what it is. Do you know what device it is? Do you know who the publisher is? Do you know what the content is? Do you have those signals you need? So I think those baseline pieces of quality really open up that ecosystem where buyers can start to transact programmatically in the way they want to, but have that comfortability in biddable, that it's not this scary place. You're not going to get burned, but you're allowing it to be a place where I'm comfortable because I trust the partner and those quality standards that they're being put in place. So I think it's really holding our partners accountable across that ecosystem, us included, to make sure you have that standard there.
OpenX is often positioned as a kind of ambassador between buyers and sellers and the different agendas that they naturally come to the table with. Publishers want revenue predictability and premium pricing, obviously. Buyers want audience optimization and flexibility. How do you bridge those gaps?
I think we have to hold ourselves accountable across the board, and I think it's been said a handful of times in general, is just everyone having a seat at the table. There's not a situation where you're going to get that quality, that premium, everything you want for the cheapest CPM. So this balance of value and efficiency is going to become really important. The buyer who knows exactly what they're getting and has equated that to being a valuable impression is okay paying the price for that. But when we start to shade that a little bit and they're not sure what it is, of course they're going to tighten the purse strings a bit and keep that close to pocket because they don't know what exactly it is or be able to evaluate that in a way in which they can comfortably spend that CPM. So I think that's the balance that we're going to have to come to. And that's also about that open ecosystem. Take it outside of just inventory transparency, but where we all have to play our role and hold each other accountable for, yes, this is going to help the publishers, but yes, this is also going to help the buy side too.
Erika, you raised so many great points about transparency and trust. And why don't you just dive into both of those points a little bit further in terms of how trust and transparency help keep the CTV marketplace healthy, and how does it avoid a race to the bottom? It's such a hard temptation to hold everyone back from.
Yeah, and I think that's exactly it, is that race to the bottom isn't a good thing for this entire ecosystem. The publisher landscape, and take it even outside of media, content creation is very expensive right now. as a consumer, I want really good content that I can keep watching and binging and staying within that platform. That's expensive. So for publishers to be able to stay competitive even in that space, to keep me as a consumer in there, they need to be able to have the yield that allows them to drive that business. On the buy side, where we're also consumers, you want to be putting those ads in the environments that the consumers are in. So I think that balance, when you think about it from how do we get away from this race to the bottom, is just understanding that asking for the lowest CPM and reducing the yield on the publisher side isn't going to help anyone, because then you're going to see this influx or this change in availability of premium content, having somewhere to place those ads. And then as a consumer, I don't have anything I want to watch anymore because it all went away. So I think that is really us all just kind of playing nice in the sandbox to understand where that value is and how we can transact that and uphold that across the board with things like transparency, which gives you insight into where those fees are going, where your money's actually going, direct supply paths, working closer with your tech partners and your publisher partners to make sure you know where that dollar is going and it's best spent because it's going to where you want it to be.